Yes. Cool. Look, a bank of lights out up here or something? It's like, yeah, we must have a, here, let's put these on. There you go, it feels better. Very good. Hey, good morning. Happy Labor Day. Did you labor? Yes? No? Okay. Yeah. They're supposed to not labor on Labor Day. That's the plan, right? That's why they do it. It's supposed to be celebrating those. Well, I'm glad you made it. Sometimes our first Tuesday after a holiday, sometimes people get a little, there's my old neighbor. Have you talked about that? My neighbor in Tennessee. He's a great guy. Smokes. Everybody has, no one goes, his name's Steve, but he goes by Smokes. That's how he introduced himself. He's probably in his 80s. Great guy. But, only in Tennessee you got to have a name like Smokes, right? And so Smokes has a saying about the 4th of July. He always tells, he says, Bob, the first 4th of July I was living, Bob, yeah, Smokes, what's going on? He said, how was your 4th? It was great. He said, you know what they say? He said, if you have a 5th on the 4th, it's hard to come 4th on the 5th. And I said, only a guy like Smokes can deliver a line like that, right? Exactly. I said, well, you have to worry about me. I did not have a 5th on the 4th, Smokes, but that's all right. But Smokes may have. All right, to have that going. So hopefully you didn't have a whatever on the Labor Day, so it makes it harder to get here in the morning. So I'm glad you made it. We got people online. We got a lot to get through today, so I want to make sure we roll. Plus, I want to be able to answer a lot of questions for you on a couple different things that are popping up. Let's go. Let's start with our vendors real quick. Kev,
what's up, man?
How have you been?
I've been fantastic.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
All right. Oh, by the way, don't be offended if I don't shake your hands. I'm everything. All right, those are in 100K. I started. For me, flu season started about 3 weeks ago. All right, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, right about when school started. So I'm staying away. I'm not touching anybody. All right, so like I said, don't be offended. If you get offended, too bad.
All right. No bro hug today?
No bro hug today. Exactly. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Overstreet. I'm the owner of Insured Title Agency, which is right next door to your main office here in West Chase, and the director of Synergy Title down in Madeira Beach. Also the creator of a company called Become a Better Agent. Many of you know about this. Many of you don't. Our next event, our 28th event, so this isn't something we just started doing. We do them every other month. The 28th one is next Thursday here in West Chase at a little English pub called the Wild Rover. This will be our first one that's not a breakfast meeting followed by a seminar. It's going to be a seminar followed by a happy hour. So we're expecting a different crowd.
Smokes might be there.
Yeah, he might be.
He might come down from Nashville.
I'll save him a 5th.
All right.
I'll pass these around, but just real quick, the three main things. Well, we've got one of our attorney partners coming in to talk about pitfalls and whatever, but he's also going to do, if you're not looking at doing a podcast as a realtor, you're missing the boat. You should be. This guy definitely should be. But Sean, the attorney, he's done about 100 and some episodes of his. He's going to do a live podcast at the event so you can see how easy it is.
Is that Yesner?
Yesner, yeah.
Yeah, he does a great job, by the way. Sean Yesner is really good.
It's the Crushing Debt podcast.
Yeah, he's on 100K, by the way, 100K group page, and he answers some good questions a lot of times from an attorney's perspective, so it's good.
We're also going to be doing a deep dive into what the property pre-qual is with a panel. If you've heard of the property pre-qual, that means you've attended an event. If you haven't, then you need to check this out. This is the very best tool for you to get more listings and for your listings to sell faster. It's something that I created in here 2 years ago, and now it's working, and the agents that are using it are killing it. They're outperforming the agents that don't use it. Brand new thing, come check it out. And then I've always taught people how to do not open houses, but home buying seminars in banks and sending out postcards, spending a ton of money and time to do that. Well, that's old school. So what we've got on next Thursday is we're going to have one of our lending partners who's also a social media guru. He and one of our other partners are going to be teaching you exactly how to do a home buying seminar on Facebook for almost no cost and get hundreds of people to come to it instead of waiting at the bank branch for 3 people to come to it. So flyers will come around. Go to bobievent.com to register, and please attend next week, and it'll be a lot of fun.
When
Awesome.
was the last one you said, Kevin? Thursday?
Next Thursday, the 13th.
What time?
From 2 to 5, followed by a happy hour.
That is a new time. That's good. Awesome. Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
How are
Bob.
you? Good.
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
I saw you at the trade show, didn't we?
I was at the Florida Realtor
See, that's
Convention
all right.
in a booth just
Yeah.
3 down from Bob.
That's it. See, look at that. How'd you get that lucky to be
My
going
name's
from
Lori
there?
Lupke, so it kind of rhymes with lucky.
Oh, there you go. See, perfect.
Thanks, Bob. I brought for your agents today a packet with the 210 Home Buyers Warranty Service Agreement, and then also a script for buyers and a script for
cool.
sellers to make it simple, clear, and easy, because I know you have about 1,000 things that you need to tend to, and home warranty is just one of them.
Awesome.
Make it simple, clear, and easy for you.
Awesome. Good deal. And you'll hand those out?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good deal.
you,
Awesome.
Bob.
All right, thanks, Lori. Good to see you. Sarah, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Good.
Sarah Hash, Equity National Title. Hey, I don't want to pitch myself today. What I want to pitch is safety for your guys' buyers and sellers. So this month we had 3 different attempts at wire fraud and 1 successful attempt. So even after the buyer called our office to verify the rest of our digits, because we don't give it out via email, they have to call, the buyer still got a hacked email and then sent the money to some other account from the email without calling and verifying. So this is not a dead horse that you can beat. I would talk to your customers at the first meeting, at the second meeting, at every property showing, every single chance you get, let them know that it's a real thing and to protect their assets. That's all I got.
Awesome. Good deal. Thank you. So you guys understand, I mean, we've got some newer agents in the room. Everybody understands what happens here, right? Wire fraud, what they're doing is they mimic you or the title company's email account, all right? They send it, looks like it's just coming from you. They copy your logo, your letterhead, whatever. They make it look legit, right? And they say, hey, you know what, great news, clear to close is now, we just got it. We need you to wire your funds, and here's the account number, right? Here's the bad thing about wiring money. Once it's gone, it's gone. Now, I know if we do have it happen, all right, the FBI has said get it to them right away, because the sooner they can get it, you know, get something going, a lot of times within 24 hours they can rein it back in, all right, and it won't be an issue, all right? Well, it has less chance of it being an issue, all right? If it gets beyond that, then we get in trouble, all right? It gets too late, money's gone. A lot of times we're talking about risk reward. That's why these nefarious people with nefarious intent are going after these things, because, you know, they could hold me up at the whatever store and they might get $60 out of my pocket, all right? Or they could do this and get a $160,000 wire going into their account. So they throw enough lines out there, they only have to catch 1 or 2 fish, all right, to make it happen. So you just got to be extremely careful. Many of our agents, and here's what we suggest at the bottom of your email signature, should say, by the way, you're never going to get wiring instructions from me, ever, 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 ever to the 8th degree, right? Ever get wiring instructions from me. And when you do, the wire fraud notice says that they need to confer with the sender that is, or who they're planning on sending the money to, that those are indeed their, what'd you say, what's the real hip word? Digits. Those are their digits. All right, because Sarah's hip, I'm not. All right, so I'm gonna, okay. Hey, can I get your digits? All right. So
just to like really like
Drive it
home, you can't beat this dead horse. So in the one situation with the buyer, we email them. We have this huge thing that says fraud alert at the bottom of our email, a huge red banner. We emailed them at least 24 times throughout the transaction, and they still didn't adhere to what was at the bottom of the email. So in the buyer situation where they wire funds, we don't catch that because it's the buyer wiring funds.
Right.
We've caught every single one where it's a seller intercept, where they're trying to get us to wire funds because
Right.
we find the suspicious activity, but we can't find that for the buyer. So this buyer is out $16,000 that hopefully the FBI can recover, but that's a lot of money for a lot of people.
Sure. Well, it's their down payment. They've been saving forever to get this and all that. So here's the issue too, is you already had my client signed the wire fraud notice. Yeah, and they signed 22 other pages that day too, right? So you need to have a discussion with them as well. Hey, look here, tell a story, tell stories, right? That's what sells, right? That's what's going to drive it home. Do you understand that once this money's gone, it's gone, right? And you got to make sure it's going to the right place.
And they don't care if it's their fault, it's your fault. You're their realtor, you're their representative, that's how they feel, that's the way they look at it. They don't look at it as their fault, they look at it as your fault.
Well, and that's
Even though
true.
it's not.
And that's why, do you think I just made up the story where they said they signed the wire fraud notice?
Right.
The answer is, yeah, but I signed 22 other things. The judge said, Mr. McDougal, your firm's been doing business for 42 years. All right, and you and you should know, and this is the first transaction they've ever had, I find in favor of them, right? Because it's always our fault. Just realize that. So the more you can get, hey, emails back and forth, dialogue, hey, just as a reminder, you're never going to get, boom, 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 as much weight. Again, we don't want it to happen, but if it does happen, we don't want to get blamed, all right? And so we want to say, hey, look, we did everything possible to avoid this and make it happen. Yes?
If agent fails to have them sign the form, which they don't.
The wire fraud notice.
Wire fraud, and when this whole thing goes through, the situation just happened and the person did, does that get errors and omission though for the?
I have to, errors and omissions, because we understand errors and omissions. What's every insurance company's job? To deny claims. Exactly, right? Okay. So they're going to look at every possible scenario to say, hey, look, well, you guys had form documents in place, and if you read page 632 of your policy, Mr. McDougal, it says that if there's a form available and you chose not to use that form, then we're going to void the policy. All right? They look at every possible. That's why when Maureen's not here today, all right, Maureen and her team, and you guys, another form. Trust me, we don't have you sign forms or have you have your client sign forms just because we want to try and put you through a gauntlet, all right, just to see if you can do it. It's a litmus test to see if you can jump over all the hurdles and go underneath everything, and if you made it, then we'll pay you. We're trying to keep us all safe and clean, all right? And so that's why we insist on these documents, all right? And we can go lengthy on why seller's disclosures are still mandated, all right? I lose agents to other companies because they come to us and they say, my seller wants to say, he's an investor and wants to say he's never lived in the property and that's the seller's disclosure. We do not allow that. Everybody understands that. We do not allow, I never lived in the property. Let me say it again. I own a lot of rental properties. I haven't lived in them. Do I know a lot about them? Absolutely. Just because I never lived in it doesn't give me a get out of jail free card I don't have to disclose? No, right? Matter of fact, the investor, the buy and flipper, who just put $34,000 worth of work into this thing in 3.5 months, says, I don't know anything about the property? Let me be the first to call BS on you, all right? So we mandate, at the very least, they do it. Now, again, what happens if we have the buyer, right, and the seller gives us this bogus, never lived in the property, seller's disclosure? Okay, great. I don't represent the seller, so it doesn't really matter to me. We just don't want you giving advice to the seller. Hey, just put never lived in the property and you're good. You're not good, right? If they can prove that your seller knew about something and did not disclose it, I don't care what they put on the seller's disclosure, they can still come after the seller, right? So we don't want to be left implying to the seller, hey, you're free, you're good, I just put this. But when we represent the buyer, we make them sign the 7-page FAR bar seller's disclosure across. We have a watermarked one, right, Jim, that says seller refused to complete or seller did not, fill out or whatever it is, right? And we still have our buyer, because that's who we represent, initial off on each page saying, hey, look, we recognize that the seller isn't providing, but this is what we ask them to provide, and they're choosing not to provide that. And you're recognizing the fact that you're going to go through with this anyway, even though. And why do we choose the FAR bar seller's disclosure? Because FAR bar seller's disclosure covers it all. Chinese drywall, mold, lead, it has it all there, okay? Settling, all the, because everybody, my company has their own, all right? Well, I get that, and it's a little one-page, hey, do you know of any problems? Okay? I like to have everything covered to make sure we're all there. All right, so and again, the good news is you only owe me $250 out of any transaction. The bad news is if you don't like the way we do our file compliance and I tell you to hit the bricks, Or you say, I'm leaving. I say, okay, I just lost $250. All right, but I saved a $400,000 lawsuit. All right, okay? Risk reward for me is okay. All right, so it's kind of like 100K. Remember 100K? We say, hey, look, the good news is it doesn't cost you to come. The bad news is when you pay zero, you lose your right to be offended. Right? So when I start offending people, I say, hey, look, too bad. All right, I'll double refund your money. All right, on the way out the door. Okay, so that's kind of the way we roll. Everybody with me on that? Cool. All right, thank you, Sarah, for sharing that. By the way, our partners, right? Remember, our partners are, there's no affiliation between us and them other than they're good people. We trust what they do. And most importantly, they bring value to the table. There's no monetary compensation to Future Home in any way based upon our relationship. What it is, though, is the people who get through me and to you are people that have proven that they're willing to, like Kevin's Baba, give value, right? Like Sarah giving her personal coaching to a lot of you for free, all right? That's impressive stuff. Their goal is always, hey, let me help you build your business, and when you build your business, you might remember me, okay? Kind of 7 levels of communication, generosity, generation, all of it rolling into one. So, cool? All right? Any questions on the seller's disclosure, wire fraud, any of that? Nope. Perfect. All right. David, once you have you come on up, let's roll through about 10 minutes. We got a presenter as well, so we want to make sure we get that. So we always say David. We got a couple different title companies. David is the owner of American Patriot Title, also the lead counsel for the Greater Tampa Realtors, and all around great guy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, goes to all of our meetings. It's great to have David because, again, we get to ask, fire questions at an attorney. Obviously, a real estate attorney, owns a title company, understands what's going on, knows his stuff. And there's a couple things you wanted to bring up. You said you and I had a couple dialogues over the month.
That's fact.
Okay, so
That's fact.
remind me again what we dialogued about.
Well, we talked about, you didn't want to talk about that. did you?
No.
Yeah.
About the legal stuff we talked about.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right,
Okay.
The case that we talked
Yes,
about.
right.
Okay. All right. Well, just to add a little drama, my note on this, so you can see this. It's there will be blood. All right. There's a writer-director whose name is Will Anderson. I think that's his name, and he had a movie about 10 or 12 years ago about a guy, sort of a bloodthirsty Machiavellian type fellow who was an oil man in Texas about 115, 20 years ago. And anyway, he was obsessed and crazy, and it was a pretty depressing film. But I love the title, There Will Be Blood. And if I stood up here and I said, well, there will be consequences, just in one ear and out the other, but when you say there will be blood.
Yeah.
Okay, so there will be blood. Here's the situation. The reason I'm holding this piece of paper, other than I want to follow my notes, there will be blood, is that there was a case recently decided. And for all of those who think, well, this FAR contract, it's not worth the paper it's written on. I gave a seminar one time, and there was a somewhat prominent broker who, after asking about 5 or 6 questions in front of about 150 people, said, do we have to use this piece of contract? And anyway, so the court said one of the conclusions they came to was that the FAR contract was an excellent contract that brought in years and years and years, decades of experience addressing different issues. And here's one issue that I think we should all zero in on. In this case, what happened was there was a $1.4 million house. There was an offer, and the property inspection period was coming to an end. An attorney, who obviously wasn't that conversant with the contract, decided, based on what the buyers were telling him, that, hey, we have issues here. You didn't tell us about this radon, whatever, and you didn't tell us about these open permits. And so he got very indignant and fired off emails, and I'm sure there's really good emails. But remember, there will be blood, all right? Remember that you can get distracted, and even an attorney can get distracted. And here's the point. Day 10, the last day of the property inspection period, the attorney sent 2 emails, one about noon and one about 5:30, rattling sabers, saying, you lied to my clients, you did this, you did that, this is terrible. And if he did all those things, you would think, well, why do they want to stay on the contract? he went beyond the 10-day. On about the 12th day, he kept rattling sabers, going on, and ultimately what happened at the end, after probably a cumulative total of about $1.5 million in attorney's fees, this was down in Dade County, the buyers lost. And the primary reason the buyers lost was that the buyer's attorney, the court said, hey, this contract has consequences. There was a 10-day period within which, for any reason related to the property condition, the buyer can terminate. The buyer's attorney, who obviously, once again, wasn't as conversant as you are now with the contract says, hey, you have an opportunity within that 10-day period to terminate. But after that 10-day period expires, you have lost your opportunity to cancel based upon property-related issues. All right? So the mistake the attorney made was he was so excited. There should be laser focused. 10 days. We have a deadline. We must fish or cut bait. We've got to either. We have options in it.
Yeah. So Dave and I were talking about this briefly this morning, and Jim can probably confirm that I haven't had this discussion with him, but probably 4 times this week. Well, last week, I guess, because it's Tuesday. 4 times last week, I had discussions with you, all right, and none of you here that I know of, right, but with you about, hey, here's the situation. I sent a repair request, and I haven't heard back. Did that happen? Right? Got a buyer's agent, right? You're representing the buyer. Home inspection, it's an as-is contract, right? You guys make your little list. By the way, there is no addendum for a repair other than a blank addendum. Says, here's what I want fixed. Work should be done by a licensed, contractor and be verified prior to closing that the repairs were done in a workmanlike manner. Any warranty should be transferable to the buyer, yada, yada, yada. Okay? Boom. If you're coming up against your home inspection period, hear me clearly on this, right? And this is being recorded. This is one of the reasons we record it. So A, people can sit at home in their fuzzy bunny slippers and watch, okay, instead of driving and getting here. But more importantly, so that if you guys ever say, I never returned, no one ever told me. Well, how about every month, all right? And let's go to the tape, all right? And watch it every month. We've told you, and we've told you, and we've told you, all right? If you're coming up against a deadline, in this case, the home inspection deadline, we see 3 options here, all right? Get a fully executed repair addendum agreement signed by all parties. Everybody hears me, signed by all parties. And who are the parties to the contract? Thank you very much, all right? I don't care what the listing agent said in an email, or they told me on the phone, no problem, the seller will take care of it, all right? A, the listing agent isn't a party to the contract to begin with, and them saying that, take that along with $350 and you might get a real small, I know what he was called, I don't speak, my son knows Latin, I don't, size coffee at Starbucks, all right? That is all that's worth, all right? So you have to have it fully executed by all parties. Here's what we all agree is going to be fixed. Or you have a cancellation delivered to the other side, ideally signed by the other side, but if you at least deliver it as the buyer's agent, you've delivered it, have evidence of the delivery. Hey, look, we're still within the inspection period. Buyer's exercising their right under paragraph blah to cancel the contract. Okay, that's 2. Or 3, extend the inspection period. Okay, 2 of the 4 last week came back and said, well, the seller's saying they're not getting back to us because they're getting estimates for the repairs that you've requested. Okay, well, if they're getting estimates, we still haven't agreed what's going to happen. So then how much longer do they need? And we need to get a signed extension of the inspection period. Because without that, we are SOL. Okay? It's not happening. You can't come back later and say, well, the listing agent implied that it was going to be all okay. All right? Doesn't work. Right? Does everybody understand that? The dates on the contracts are very specific, and the dates are there for a reason. And by the way, this is the argument. I usually have to get on the phone with your other side, all right, because they're not listening to me, so I'll get on the phone with the other side and say, well, yeah, I said, no. You're kind of taking the very lackadaisical approach to the inspection deadline, all right? Dates are dates, and they're there for a reason. If they weren't important, we wouldn't put them in the contract. Agreed? So we need to make sure that we're abiding by those dates and you know your rights under those dates. And you know, when I say your rights, you are informing your client of their rights under the terms and what exactly happens. Oh, my buyer still wants it. I get that, but they also want their escrow. Okay? So it doesn't hurt to extend the inspection period or, you know what? And if you got a seller, like in this case, right, that's rattling sabers and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, or in this case, it was the buyer that was rattling. Why, you know, if a seller's being unresponsive and not, then that's probably a sign. Might be time to get out, right? My buyers really want it. Oh, the worst one was one of our agents they were the buyer. I don't want it, but I really want the house. I said, well, you've got a decision to make. Which way's heavier? All right? Your want of the home or your want of a home that doesn't have a roof falling in? Okay? You got to decide, you know, what happens here. So, fair enough? Does everybody understand that? Have we made that clear enough? All right? Dates matter, yes? Everybody agree? Raise your right hand. Jim panned the room. Everybody has agreed. All right. Okay. All online, nod. Wave it up and down. All right. They're all nodding. All right. There we go. And we got it. Cool. Awesome. What else?
Just to sort of underscore that point, another situation. If you, there's a realtor, this actually happened.
As soon as you said realtor and actually happened, I don't doubt it.
That's
Okay.
right.
Go ahead.
So the buyer's realtor said, hey, to the seller's realtor, hey, we need 24 hours extension, and this is not on the property inspection, but it was on the finance provision, loan approval period. So the seller's agent said, sure, we'll give you 24 hours, and so the agent did exactly what Bob said to you. The buyer's agent sent the form it was already signed by the buyers, extending 24 hours. And the seller's agent said, oh, don't worry about it. You got it. Well, I really need it. No, you got it. Don't worry about it. It was in an email. Don't worry about it. So the time period passed, and on the 32nd day, the seller's agent sent a notice that the contract had been terminated. All right? So what Bob is saying, you know, you just sort of think through that and don't fall prey. And it may have been that the seller's agent was actually thinking this is not a problem, and then he got back with his seller, and the seller may have heard of somebody who wanted to pay more, or the seller said, you know, I don't like this contract. For whatever reason, what happened was, instead of, as Bob was saying, you have to absolutely positively get it signed, because there is a provision in that contract that says no modification, absolutely no modification, is enforceable unless it is in writing and signed by both parties. So if you agree, you have an email, and this lady did have an email saying, my seller agrees. First thing that happened was got terminated, and the first thing their attorney said, well, you know, I appreciate what they're saying, and I see what the email says, but this is absolutely not enforceable unless it's in writing and it is signed by both parties. All right? So don't fall prey, don't get sucked in. And Bob is correct, when you get to the end, you have to make a decision. Either you're going to cancel, if you get on the last day of the property inspection or the loan approval period, and you haven't heard from the other side, and maybe they've said they'll agree to it, but they haven't agreed in writing and signed, then you have to make a decision. You have to be ready. You have to be ready to go old school, and that is you get an 8 by 11 sheet of paper, and you put on there, the buyer hereby terminates the contract, because what you have is somebody who's not responsive. All right, they go beyond the deadline, and it doesn't matter whether they're unfair or they didn't do this or they didn't do that. If you don't have some termination, number one, the announcement that you have terminated, and an acknowledgement by the other side, if they're not cooperating and you're not getting the acknowledgement, then what you need to do is you need to create evidence that the other side has noticed. And the only way that I know of, if they're not being responsive, is to go find the broker's office, go to the broker or whoever, upper management, and say, hey, we're giving, your people won't respond, so here it is, and I want somebody to acknowledge this. I want to get a copy of it, so I have proof, independent of what might have happened out there on the internet. I have proof that it was terminated. Otherwise, we all know you risk losing your client's deposit. All right?
You know, and I find agents are they're very reluctant to do that, right? They're very reluctant to go to the cancel. Why? Because you don't want to cancel a deal. I get that, all right? But you got to understand that your buyer needs to be, okay, it's your buyer's choice. In this case, if we're representing the buyer, it's your buyer's decision whether or not to give that or not. You need to have evidence that you inform them. Jim and I, what are the two major dates in the contract? Okay, the deadlines. Got a home home inspection deadline, right? And we got the loan approval deadline. Second question we get, hey, it's day 30 and I don't have loan approval yet. What does the contract say? Well, my first question is, did you go to paragraph 8 contract class on FHR University? It defines it real clearly, pretty in-depthly. I go through every possible scenario, and in that you're going to hear me say, if you're up against the loan approval deadline, you better cancel the contract now. Because David mentioned a day 32, okay, he was going on the default assumption of a 30-day loan approval. You understand the newer contract, it's now over a year old, but the newer contract says that after the loan approval deadline comes and goes, day 30 in this case, right, then there's a 3-day window in which the seller has a unilateral right to cancel the contract. All right, buyer, you're done. All right, you have no financing contingency, gone. Okay, minute 1 of day 31. All right, no longer exists. Seller has a 3-day, 31, 32, 33, right to say, hey, look, you know, we had this backup offer that's cash for $8,000 more. Let's go with that one, right? That's when you get the notice. And your buyer says, what the heck? I thought we were, we said, well, we didn't deliver the loan. Now, what's the exception to that? How do you get out of that? If the buyer's using Quicken, or they're using their brother-in-law, or they're using somebody you did not recommend to get their loan, right? And you say, hey, we don't have a loan approval. On day 30, we've got a decision to make. We can cancel the contract, or we can, if you want to avoid them going into a 3-day right to unilaterally cancel the contract, we can say, hey, look, we know we don't have loan approval, but we're going ahead anyway. And you deliver that in writing, signed by the buyer, that says, hey, look, we get it. That voids the 3-day right for the seller to cancel. By you saying, hey, look, I know we don't have loan approval, but we're forging ahead anyway. I trust my brother-in-law. Famous last words, right?
What do you call,
All right, okay.
that, Bob?
What's that?
What do you call what you're saying? That language?
Well, I would say it's basically, what'd you call? Yeah, you're waiving,
The buyer waives the finance.
yeah, you're waiving your financing contingency. Right, exactly. That's a good point. That's exactly what it is. Yes, ma'am.
In that respect, when you want to cancel the contract because of
You don't have the loan approval and you don't trust the brother-in-law.
Exactly.
Right.
I thought that you needed to have some letter saying that you're.
Yeah, you know, the new contract is strange. There is no denial letter required. If you read the contract, just like there is no home inspection required on an as-is contract. You understand that, right? The old contract implied that we had to have a professional home inspection done. By the way, if you guys are listing agents and you have your sellers sign as-is contracts, realize it is whatever the time period is in there, it is you already hear me, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Everybody understands that, right? The buyer, can the buyer go shop for the next 10 days, find a better home, and on day 9, 11 hour, 59 minute, come in and say, you know what, we found something better, but we're going to say, we're exercising our right under the inspection period to, because it says buyer at their sole discretion may cancel the contract, period. That's all it says, all right? If they want a reason, say, yeah, you know what, we thought the baseboards were 4 inches and they ended up being 3 7/8. There's my reason. Have a great day.
So this has happened to me on the last 2 listings.
Yep.
How do I avoid this happening?
Well, my opinion would be I would consider not using the as-is contract, number one. Okay, or Jim's going to say shorten the inspection period to about a minute. No. Okay.
No,
Right.
I say add into additional terms that in order for you gotta word it right, but in order for the inspection contingency to take place, they must perform a professional license inspection. That way, they're at least not an investor that's like just, because it says they can do their inspections as they desire, which is, like I say in my class, I'm like, could I inspect a house in Key West from right here? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
That's how I desire to do it.
Right.
I don't like the way it looks from here.
Right.
Because you don't have to say why you're canceling. All you have to do
Yeah.
is say, I'm canceling due to inspections.
Yeah.
Period. No reason. And you don't, if you can force them to actually do a professional inspection, you'll avoid people doing like what he's saying, looking for their house, because they're gonna have to spend $400 to do it, at least, so it makes them a little bit more, you know.
It's something to consider, and it's a good idea. You might get pushback on it, right, and everything else. The other answer is, if you know it's a get-out-of-jail-free card, shorten the get-out-of-jail-free time, right? Make 5-day inspection periods, 3-day inspection periods. Really hone that down, because the shorter it is, the shorter time they have to go shop, and or shorter time that even if they do shop and choose otherwise, then your home's off the market for a shorter duration.
And the last question, you said we're going to use the as is.
Yeah, use the regular contract. The regular contract, which is now no longer the regular contract, all right? I fly a lot, and every time I fly and I get in the TSA pre-check line, and it's 10 times as long as everybody else, I'm like, if everybody's pre-checked, then nobody's pre-checked, right? I mean, there is no specialness to me anymore because my line is 15 times longer than the non-pre-checked person line. But I get to keep my shoes on and it's all good. All right. So the answer is the regular contract, what we call it, has the inspection repair limits in there. There are 3 of them now. It used to be 2, but there are 3, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 default. One's for warranted items, structural, mechanical type stuff. The other's for WDO, would destroy an organism. And the third is now for permit-related issues, permit/zoning related issues. But if you have that in there, now the buyer could come up with some things that they say, hey, look, you know what? We found some things. Okay, great. It falls within the repair limit. And or even if it exceeds the repair limit, that contract says the seller may elect to repair, and the buyer we're still in contract, right? Because I get it. I warned everybody about this probably 6 years ago when all the listing agents were beating their chest thinking that they were all that six-pack in a bag of chips because they got their sellers, I negotiated an as-is contract for you. Okay. What you negotiated is a get-out-of-jail-free card for the buyer, okay, in my opinion. Now, again, I get it. You're not obligating your seller to any repairs, but you're also not obligating the buyer to sticking around. All right? There's nothing tying them there. Yes?
So do you recommend as-is or FAR bar?
Well, I always recommend FAR bar, all right, number one. So it's either the as-is or the quote-unquote regular FAR bar, all right? And my answer would be depends on who you represent, all right? Okay, if I truly, who you represent and if your seller is understanding of the repair limits. Because the downside of the other contract is that they are obligated up to whatever repair limit you put in there. There's nothing saying you can't shrink the 1.5% down to $500 in each of those categories as well. But at least by doing that, you now have the right to keep the buyer tied to the contract. All right? And by the way, if you have the buyer and you're used to having an as-is and all of a sudden you don't have an as-is, you better understand that contract. Okay? And you better not go out saying, oh, let's go shop around for 4 other homes and let's enter into 4 contracts, because now when you're under 4 contracts and none of them are as is, you're under contract 4 times. And if all the sellers do what they're supposed to do, if they perform under the terms of the contract, your buyer's buying 4 homes and they're not going to be happy if you had promised them, don't worry, we'll get out. Okay? Question?
No, can I chime in on?
Yeah, chime. Hey, let me switch.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to sit right here.
All right. Point that at me. All right. Hey, guys, also, just on this subject, because of we're talking about the home inspection, please do not ask me for a waiver of the home inspection period. I know these other companies are loving that for some reason, and we're dealing with the buyers half these times when you guys are asking me that. I don't know if it's you guys preaching to the choir, but at least I can reach as many people as I can, the people online, all you guys. Why on earth would you waive the inspection period that you actually fought to get? You asked for 15 days, you got it. Why on day 7 did you do the inspections and now you're gonna actually advise your buyer to now waive the remainder of it? And now on day 10, your buyer says to you, hey, you know what? I'd like to cancel this. I found a better property. And then you say, well, no, we waived it. And now you got to explain to them why you waived it. And you got to explain to Bob why you allowed your client to waive it when they had another 5 days. There's no reason for that form. There really is no reason for it. Just take the days that you get.
Right.
Use them. It's automatically waived once that period ends. So you don't need a form. You don't even need it on day 15. You're just done. So does that make sense to everybody?
So if you request repairs, if you request them on day 8,
Yeah.
and then they say, yeah, we will do that.
Well, that.
Said that or they wrote that?
No, they will write it.
Everybody agree?
And they agree.
Okay.
Then your inspection period already ended right there.
No, listen, no, it doesn't. It does not. The inspection period ends at the end of the inspection period. What if you find more things? What if your buyer decides, hey, I want to do a mold inspection now, and they find more things they want to get repaired? They still have more days. So you do the inspection, you fight for your repairs, you get those, you get that addendum signed, and the addendum, you got to understand, the addendum goes all the way to the end of the contract. The way you write it, you say that repairs have to be done by the, by the closing date to the whatever, all the stuff that you said, to satisfaction of the buyer. The inspection period will end on day 15 or 10 or whatever you fought for. You got it, you're good. It'll just end. Don't worry about it. Don't waive it, nothing. Because your buyer may, like I said, may come back and want to do a different inspection, because they can do any inspection they really want. So.
And does everybody understand too, okay, that the waiver of the inspection, right? Hey, you've had your inspection and now we've said we're all good and everything like that. I need that in writing, okay? No, when you represent the buyer, what Jim's telling you is that you don't need to provide that, right? You know what that is? Here's my answer every time. I get it on 100K and Just Us Agents, FHR, all that. Hey, where's our form? Here's your form. Open your planner. The calendar is your form. Because your inspection period goes away, this is what we've been talking about, on September 13th at midnight, okay, 11:59. It goes away. Now, I saw David get a little nervous when Jim said, do your inspection addendum and get those agreed upon, and then you can still cancel if there's still time left. I would agree. I think David would fight if he was representing the seller, that, hey, look, you delivered us a detailed list of things that you wanted done, and we agreed to it. So there could be some verbiage. Again, you can fight over anything. Could be some verbiage. Hey, look, here's by the way, all right, buyer still retains their rights for further inspections up to the end of the duration of the inspection period. Jim.
The one thing I would help, if you have the seller and you get those repairs,
Yeah.
and your seller agrees to them, I would advise my seller not to do any of the repairs until the inspection period is gone. That way we know there's not any more coming.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
how I would combat that.
All right, Sarah?
Can I add something?
You can.
When you're negotiating the contract, and you're going back and forth, lining through things and initialing it, to date every single initial, because we've had several situations.
Absolutely.
Where Attorney Gucci is trying to figure out exactly when the inspection period is
Uh-huh.
over, when the 30-day contingency is over.
And which one overrides the other?
Exactly.
Correct.
Really hard time figuring out what that means.
That's the beauty of e-sign, right? The beauty of e-sign, because it also automatically timestamps everything that occurs. That's the beauty of that. John?
Quick procedural question on the listing side, I'm only using the standard contract.
Yep.
Which I appreciate, but the problem I run into is someone will do an inspection and there's some simple repairs, like the ball cock in the toilet is running.
Right.
And the bathroom sink has got to have a new washer because it's dripping.
Uh-huh.
The contract specifically says to be done by a licensed contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So are we required, when we get that, the homeowner says, I can go fix that myself.
Right.
Home Depot, are we required to provide the buyer side with an invoice from a plumber that's been paid?
If you left the contract alone as it stands, yes. If it just said, we'll be, that's why if you're not planning on having it done by a license, okay, items 1, 3, and 7 will be done by the homeowner, right? This is what you're coming back as the listing agent. Will be repaired by the homeowner. Buyer has the ability to re-inspect and confirm that it's been done properly. Exactly, as long as everybody agrees. Remember, it's a message in the bottle rule, right? If we found this contract 8 years from now, hey, what do they mean, right? Okay, put it in a time capsule and we open it up 10 years from now. Hey, here's what John meant when he wrote that. Cool? All right? And we were like, okay? We could ask contract questions all day long, and we got to keep going. Okay, quick.
Just in response to him, if you're representing the buyer,
Yep.
do you have to ask for the repair to be done by
Wait, do you have to do anything? Here's what I do. Let's make it clear. I would rather use more words to make it clear than assume that, hey, the buried in line paragraph 52 underlined it says by a licensed. Why not then say these repairs all will be completed by a licensed person, permits pulled when write that down. We're not trying to hide anything from anybody. Let's make it clear. So if we ever had to have our client go to court, I mean, how much easier is it, David, if everything's, hey, I don't know what's ambiguous about this. It's not hard to read, Your Honor, right? It says it will be done by a licensed, So, yes.
Can you clarify the date your home inspection starts? Like we do the home, everybody.
Yeah, so you go to contract on Tuesday. Everybody signs off on Tuesday. It doesn't matter what time on Tuesday. It could be 7 a.m. on Tuesday. It could be 11:45 p.m. on Tuesday, all right? Day one, okay, is Wednesday, okay? Now, the contract does say it goes through 11:59 p.m. with the one small exception is if at the end of an inspection period occurs on a weekend or national legal holiday, for instance, then it goes to, and this is the only time it mentions 5 p.m., is that when we automatically goes to the next day, business day, then it says that it shall extend to 5 p.m. the next business day. Other than that, my reading of the contract doesn't say 5 p.m. anywhere. Does it anywhere, David, to you? I read it as 11:59, okay? But there is why they threw that in, say to make it 5 p.m. on the next business day, then we need to pay attention when they say stuff like that. So I always think of it like renting a car, right? I rented the car on Tuesday. I'm done with day one on Wednesday, okay? Okay, in the car rental thing, it goes down to the 11:45 p.m. based upon the 24-hour period. Yes?
Are you saying somewhat like what we had this weekend with Labor Day, that not only will it follow through to the next 5 o'clock Monday business day, Monday for the holidays?
Correct, it would be Tuesday. That's correct. That is absolutely correct, okay? It would. Now again, you count those days, read the contract, okay? Contract class is very good. You count those days. They are part of your 10-day period, right? It only applies if the 10-day ends on a Saturday, Sunday, or national legal holiday. All right? So you count the days. Saturday, they all count as part of your inspection period. It's just that if it ends on Labor Day, then automatically it extends to the next business day, 5 p.m. Cool? Raphael, you had a question?
Yeah, when you mentioned the repairs will be done by homeowner.
Yep.
Would it be wise to say who is not a licensed contractor, just to make it really clear?
Well, yeah, you could, even better, if you want to do that. Or, if the homeowner wanted to do it and he happened to be a licensed contractor, I don't know why I would mind, other than the homeowner would be the one usually pushing back on that, saying, hey, look, I can repair the flapper and the toilet, okay? I'm not going to bring a $932 an hour plumber out, all right, to replace the flapper, all right? So it's, what we're going to do. So, cool. So, yeah, good question, though. Again, the more clear we make it, the better. Cool? David? Thank you very much. Fist bump. Thank you very much. All right, give David a hand. All right, perfect. David owns American Patriot Title, right? Owns American Patriot Title as well, so and he's, like I said, all-around great guy. All right, you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, come on up. Let me get your PowerPoint up here for you.
All right.
Now, this is not projecting your voice. It's just making them online be able to hear you better.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is
Nice
Frank
old-
Messina with D.R. Horton. He's going to tell us all sorts of great things.
All sorts of great things. I'll be quick, guys. It's a quick 10-minute presentation. But before I start, I love the smokes thing. Have a fifth on the fourth. I'm going to remember that as long as I live. But this weekend, my best friend, my Labor Day story, guy I met day one at college. I played hockey in college, and we were roommates, became best friends, and we visited each other every year since we graduated college. I won't tell you how many years that is, but it's been many. So he came down this weekend to take his family to Orlando, and he spent the weekend with us. And he's got 3 kids, I have 2 kids, and we have boys about the same age. So we were on the driveway shooting hockey pucks, just having fun out there, and his son is 11, and he says to me, Mr. Messina, what was my dad's greatest game in college hockey? And I said, well, Jake, I said, there's one game that stands out for me. I said, we were playing Boston College. And for those of you that don't follow hockey, Boston College in hockey is the Alabama of football. They win national championships. They're very good. And our team was pretty much mediocre at best. And I said to him, I said, you know, we lost 8-2, but your dad scored both goals that game. I said he was the best player on the ice. The 2 goals he scored against the goalie ended up playing in the NHL. He was a pro hockey player. And your dad was just incredible that day. I'll never forget that. So he says, wow, you know, he's all starry-eyed. So conversely, my son says to my best friend, hey, what was my dad's best game in college hockey? Now my best friend hails from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. It's a tiny farming town out in the western plains of Canada. So he's a simple guy that doesn't think sometimes as well as he should. And he looks at my son and he says, wow, we were playing the University of Vermont and we're losing like 8-1 and your dad is twisted. He's beside himself. He's been in the penalty box the whole game and he gets a penalty shot, a one-on-one with the goalie with about 50 seconds to go. So he goes down the boards and cuts to the middle, and then he winds up with a slap shot at the goalie's head, which you're not supposed to do on a penalty shot. And then he takes his gloves off and he jumps the goalie and starts a brawl at the end of the game. After that fight, he pushed the ref out of the way. He jumped out another guy. He was fighting people. He was yelling at the fans on the way out. And he goes, it was awesome. That was great. Now, my son is a quiet, reserved young man. And he's looking at me like, Dad, really? And I'm like, well, so I said, that's, a little, exaggerated. I said, it wasn't that bad. I said, I pushed a guy and stuff, and it was like, it was bad. So we get done shooting the hockey pucks around the driveway. We go in the kitchen for a beer, and I said, hey, numbnuts. I said, I make you look really good in front of your kid, and that's the story you translate to my kid. I said, I had some decent games too. He goes, well, no. He asked me, what was, your most famous game that I can remember, and that's the one that just popped right into my head, so I had to tell him. I had to be honest with him. So, once again, the simple thinking of somebody from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, making his best friend look great in front of his kid. So,
All right, so what's
great
your
time. So let's hit the one, North Tampa, please. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Mm-hmm. All right, so guys, a little bit about D.R. Horton. Once again, I'll take about 10 minutes and keep your meeting moving here. But we are the #1 builder in the United States for the past 16 years. I don't know if everybody knows how large we are, but we last year closed 48,000 homes.
Clicker's not working. So
that's fine. I'll do it right here. We're good.
Them all in.
That's fine. We're good.
Awesome.
So, 47,000 homes we closed last year, 16 consecutive years, #1. You see who's trailing us, Lennar. You know they merged with Cal Atlantic, so when you combine their numbers, they still trail us. And once again, this year we will be #1, so that number is going to become 17 straight years as the #1 builder in the United States. You can see the other builders trail us by a pretty large margin. We were named National Builder of the Year. D.R. Horton is right here, the gentleman that founded the company 40 years ago. He was just in our market 3 weeks ago, and what I love about the man is he comes out to meet the employees. We talk about our business plan very little. We spend 3 days with him touring our communities, but he comes to town to meet our sales, our construction managers, meet our office staff. When he flies to come see us, he flies coach in the middle row. He's worth, I don't know how much money, but he drives a Ford Taurus. He's just a very simple man, which I think is awesome, and he's just a wonderful person to work for. So where our footprint is, we have 10 divisions in Florida, as you can see by the dots. We are in 79 markets in the United States, 27 states, about to become 28 states. And notice how smart we are. I'm from the Northeast, as you could tell from my drawl. And we stay out of the Northeast, so we stay away from up there. That's one of our rules. We put all those people in Florida. We tell them all to come down. I'm just teasing. Those of you from the Northeast, I'm from New York. It's okay. But that's, the taxes are, I went to school in Connecticut. I will tell you the taxes are too high up there. It's ridiculous what some of my friends still pay up there. So this year, in terms of sales, our budget this year was 1820. We're going to finish with about 1,950 sales. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing from Pasco to Sarasota. That is the Tampa footprint. So we have 40 communities that we produce those numbers in. Next year, our budget is going to be 2,500 sales and 2,500 closings. We are growing at an astronomical clip, especially in this market. D.R. Horton is very bullish on the west coast of Florida. Right now, we control 13,000 lots that we haven't even touched yet in terms of starting sales or development. So that is a 4-year supply. We are still buying more lots. When you look at a bell curve, we do a lot of work with John Burns Real Estate. They're a big consulting firm out of California. And we recently looked at something with them where they took the top 20 markets in the United States, which Tampa is one of them, and where they were at on the bell curve in terms of the recovery. So markets that have already recovered that were already up at the top, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. Tampa was number 18, meaning good. We were at the bottom, just beginning our recovery. So they still think we have a long way to go in terms of our run. And there were some articles out this weekend when you compare Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami, and Tampa. Tampa is by far the most affordable market in the state of Florida out of those 4 cities. So a lot of great things going on, a lot of growth for us in the market. Selling a new home. Anybody in here sold a new home recently? Anybody sold a new home with D.R. Horton? All right, good. I gotta find my money clip now. Wait, hold on. There's special extra money for you. But selling a new home, hopefully what we do a little bit different as opposed to resale. We try to make the process a little bit simpler for our realtors and our buyers. Obviously, the 5 things, your client can choose a floor plan. We average 6, 7, 8 floor plans in a community that they can select from. The new home has a structural warranty. It's a 10-year structural warranty that is transferable if your buyer does decide to sell the house. The home is dramatically more energy efficient. Radiant barrier sheathing, those of you that know, that's the aluminum foil looking product on the roof sheathing up top, keeps the house a lot cooler. We do that in all the homes. Double pane windows, a tighter seal. The homes they build these days are just a lot more energy efficient than something that's 20 years ago. And then as Bob was talking earlier about inspections, the inspection will not throw your deal. We do have buyers that get inspectors. Typically they find a couple cosmetic things that we'll take care of, but the home is inspected on average 33 times in Hillsborough County during our build. So we have to get through that process. So with a brand new home, very, very minute chance you're gonna have a structural issue with the home. And number 5, it's gonna be the easiest sale you ever make. We mandate, our company mandates that our sales reps communicate with our buyers and our realtors throughout the process. We have to talk to our buyers once a week. It's updates. We set expectations at the start. We are not perfect by any stretch. We have bad houses. All builders have bad houses. But we're going to communicate to our buyers if we run into a delay where a trade doesn't show up on time, an inspection doesn't happen. So it is our job to communicate with our buyers throughout the process, letting them know the good, the bad, the ugly, and our reps know if they don't do that, they don't get to work for D.R. Horton in Tampa. So one of the neat things that we do that I just want to mention here, we are the only new home builder in this market that does all block construction on 2 stories. You'll have some custom builders do that, but if you look at production builders, we are the only one. If you go to our Haven Estates community 5 minutes from here and you see a 2-story home being built, you will see all block. There is no wood frame on the 2nd story. And where we ran into a lot of issues in the past was when stucco cracks weren't sealed, the home's 5 years, 6 years old, people aren't maintaining their stucco cracks. We get a wind-blown rain, gets into the stucco, into the 2nd floor, into that wood, and here comes the rain problem. So that's the main reason we did it. It cost us on average between $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more of cost per house to make that change to all block. But for us, for peace of mind for our people to build a better home, it was well worth it for us to do that. So the benefits to you guys, as you explained to your buyers, number 1, obviously the water infiltration issue. It's more soundproof, it's more structurally sound, God forbid a bad storm. And also their homeowner's insurance is going to be 15 to 20% less with an all-block 2-story home versus one that is block with wood frame. So a lot of benefits to going to the all-block. So our brands, D.R. Horton, just so you know, you'll see our name under these 4 different brands. D.R. Horton is the top left there. That's the majority of the product, about 60% of the product we do in this market. Express Homes, if those of you that have seen our Express Homes, that is our first-time buyer home. Those are the homes that come with everything. The granite, the appliances, the washer, dryer, the blinds, they're move-in ready. It's a very simple product, but that is a growing product for us. We're doing more and more of it as affordability becomes an issue. We try to keep those communities below $200,000 for our single-family stuff with our starter homes that are 1,600 square feet. Emerald Homes, we have 2 Emerald Homes communities that are just opening very close to this location here. Haven Estates just opened on North River, right off Memorial Highway. It's a small hamlet of about 34 home sites, all conservation ponds, no back-to-back lots, beautiful stuff. We start at $350,000 in there. And then right off Sheldon, just north of Limbaugh, for those of you that have seen the Emerald Homes sign for Allura. It is about 200 yards north of Limbaugh, right off Sheldon. That community is going to be about 150 lots. It's a metro development community, and that's getting ready to open in about 90 days. So we have 2 Emerald Home communities real close here. And when you compare us in that location to Taylor Morrison, Beazer, and KB, we're going to be about 25 to 30,000 less on same square footage. So we're going to do very well there.
And then the last one here, Freedom Homes. This is a growing area for us. This is age-targeted stuff, single-story plans, 5 of them. We do them up in Epperson. We do it a little bit more down in Manatee and Sarasota with the older demographic. So those are the 4 brands that you'll see under D.R. Horton. D.R. Horton, Express, Emerald, and Freedom. So one thing I also want to mention to you on the bottom there, just talking a little bit about realtors and our relationship. This is our form of advertising. Me getting out, our sales reps getting out to the offices. D.R. Horton in Tampa does 84% of our sales with realtors. Most builders are 50, 60, some get up to 70%. We are 84%. When we underwrite our business plan, which we just did for 2019, we underwrite it with 100% realtor participation. Our sort of running joke is when a sale comes in without a realtor, hey, why didn't that have a realtor? Because we almost expect realtors to be on our sales. We do very little advertising. We do a little bit of stuff online, but we gear all of our advertising, business, and promotion to realtors. And I think one of the great things about us is that we always pay on the full price of the home. Some builders these days, now that the market's gotten good, they'll only pay on the base price, or they'll pay on the base price plus the lot premium, but they won't pay you for options. We pay on the final HUD price. We don't play any of that, because when the market slowed and we needed the realtors to help us get through, everybody was paying 4%, 5%, 6%. And now that the market's gotten better, is it really fair to penalize you guys just because the market's gotten better? We don't think so. So I think that's one of the great things about D.R. Horton is that we always pay on the full price of the home, and we do bonuses. So if it's 4%, it's 4% on the full price. We never take anything away from the sale. Okay, so I passed out a flyer to everybody. Our VIP program, just so you guys know, Future Home Realty has sold 35 homes with D.R. Horton so far this year. So we do very well with you guys, and we appreciate that business. As I said earlier, we do a ton of stuff with realtors, and we appreciate the support that you guys give us. The VIP program, our fiscal year, just so you know, ends this month, September 30th. We go from October 1 to September 30. Last year, we had 43 realtors qualify for this, not at Future Home Realty. I hope it's Future Home Realty, you get that many this year. But last year, we had 43 realtors sell 5 or more homes with us. And this is based on a calendar year, so this isn't based on our fiscal year. So this is January 1 to December 31. So your first sale, you get into our program. Your second sale is a $1,000 bonus, plus whatever commission we're paying. If it's a 4% home, it's 4% plus the $1,000. Third and fourth sales, $1,500 bonus. And then your fifth sale and beyond is an additional 1% on top of whatever we're paying. Then what happens the following year, so if you became a VIP realtor this year, January 1st, 2019, every sale you write with us, you get the extra 1%, plus your buyers, you're able to give them an extra $1,000 towards closing costs. So you can say to them, hey, for being a VIP realtor with D.R. Horton, one of the benefits is they're paying $6,000 towards closing costs in this community, you get $7,000. So that's sort of the benefit. And we have a great luncheon every year with our VIP realtors. We give away some great prizes. We give away cruises, jewelry, trips to the islands. And then last year we had our special theme trip. We called it the Get Out of Jail Free Trip for men. It was a weekend in Boone, North Carolina, in a gorgeous 4-bedroom cabin, 6,000 feet up, overlooking 7 layers of mountains during the fall foliage season. So sure enough, as soon as we picked that realtor's name out of the hat, he ran to the board. He's like, my wife is so pissed at me right now. I'm grabbing that one. And he yanked it right down, and he took his wife up for the weekend up there. So we really do try to cater to our realtors, especially our VIP realtors, and I would love to see more of them, and somebody from Future Home Realty in this room become a VIP realtor with us. So the map I passed out, I won't spend much time on this. We have 40 communities right now. By January 1 next year, we're going to have close to 50. We're opening about 10 new communities. I mentioned the ones close to you guys here. Haven Estates, the one that's off Memorial Highway. Allura is the one that's off Sheldon and Linebaugh. And then also right up the Veterans, we have a community opening up, 1,100 home sites called The Preserve. It's right on the corner of 54 and the Suncoast Expressway. It is the northwest corner. All that land there is D.R. Horton. We're going to have townhomes, our D.R. Horton product, and our Express product in there. We have a connection to the trail, an incredible amenity going in there. And I will tell you guys in this room, we got that land for a steal. So all those communities up there, Bexley, Astoria, Starkey, when you look at similar square footage, we're going to be $30,000 to $40,000 less than those communities. So we are budgeting 18 sales a month in 2019 in that community, and it's my job to make sure we hit it. And we will sell that many homes in that community based on our pricing, the home sites, the layout of the community. It's pretty spectacular. So we're real excited about the preserve.
When's that going to be breaking ground?
We are building the models right now. There's 7 models, and they are all in between block and frame, so we're anticipating 60 days we will be opening the models. We are going to start in the upper 190s for the single family. The townhomes are going to start in the 170s, and the D.R. Horton product is going to start at 250.
Got a buyer for that area.
I've got houses for you. Yeah. Thank you. And if you, when I'm done speaking here in a couple of minutes, if you want to talk about anything or what they're looking for, I'll be happy to share more information with you. Okay, so once again, we're in growth mode. We're very bullish on the area. Here's some other communities. Union Park out in Pasco County. We own the whole second phase of that, 700 lots. So Union Park is now us. Epperson, we have 3 different product lines up in Epperson and Pasco. That's the Lagoon community, if anybody's been up there and seen that. Once the lagoon opens, it's going to be spectacular. It's been delayed getting open for those of you that have seen it in the news. But to see 10 acres of water that's crystal blue with all the beaches, the restaurants, the bars, it's pretty spectacular. If you have clients with kids, that's an awesome place to raise kids. Those are up in Pasco. So coming soon, folks, I'm not going to bore you with that, but we have, like I said, another 10 communities opening. By 2020, we're going to be close to 70 communities. So my message to you is D.R. Horton is growing. We're bullish on the west coast of Florida, and we're going to be the dominant player in this market for years to come. And up here, spec homes. Some builders find buyers and build homes. We build homes and then find buyers. We're a huge inventory home spec home builder. Our average time from sale to close is 82 days. In all of our communities, you will see 12, 15, 20 inventory homes going at all times. So right now we have 412 inventory homes being built in our communities. That's our business plan. We keep them going. If you get somebody that comes in, needs something quick, please think of us because we do have the inventory in all of our communities. We have 2 online consultants that can answer and speak to you. Paula Malone and Nicole Peterson are our online consultants. Nicole just started with us, and now we have 2. So at any time, if you go to our website, you will see their names and numbers, and you're driving with somebody, you need some quick information, you don't want to get on your phone and get online while you're driving, just please call, and we'll let you know what we have available and help get you out to the right community. All right, any questions I could answer real quick for anybody? Yes?
So how do we get people to get to you? And what do you suggest if you don't have any current buyers for new homes?
If you don't have buyers for new homes, how do you get those people? I mean, interesting question. I would say make relationships with our sales reps and learn about our communities and what we offer in differing, communities. If you work with a prospect and you do get somebody, we do recommend realtors to people that do come in that, hey, I've got a house to sell, I need to sell it. Do you know anybody? We refer our realtors out. So getting to know the reps, and if you work in a certain area, that's a great way to get to know them and pick up because we're going to refer that out. We try to make the realtor relationships easy, folks. We'd rather, hey, you're looking for somebody, we know somebody here.
Do you put your inventory in the MLS?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so the inventory would be, inventory homes would be.
And that's the other simple
But
solution.
familiarize yourself with the product, right?
Yeah.
And that's the best way, is have another option. Everything you're looking at is, oh man, every time I'm in a multiple offer situation. Well, how have we considered about, they've got 4 of this model that fit kind of what your criteria is. Maybe we should go check that out. So now we have an option not going there. But
Yeah.
the key is knowing your inventory.
Right. And with the months of supply so low, I think in the resale market, I don't know where it's at now, but
Yeah.
2 months or below. I mean, if you have somebody that can find something, please think of us because we have that inventory in all of our communities.
When are you going to be open for realtors to come up and preview?
For the Preserve, we're going to do a Realtor Grand Opening event. I believe it is October 20th. And that's where we'll host just realtors out to the community. We're closed except for the realtors to come preview. We serve you lunch. We'll walk you through the models, give you information. We'll give you a $1,000 bonus card for your first sale you do there. All sorts of good things. And I'll tell you another hockey story.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know I've matured greatly since college hockey. I no longer look for fights or do anything like that.
But don't ask for certain repairs on his home.
Because I'll throw the gloves off and
You see what he did to a goalie? If he's going to do that to a goalie, what's he going to do to you?
Hug you and be a
right,
romantic, caring young guy.
Because your money, your income is directly related
Absolutely,
to it now.
right.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Oh,
Bob.
sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
I forgot.
Sorry, my bad. All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. See you. let's not let you leave
you.
without
Yep,
that.
I got you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Good deal. Thank you. Hey, you guys, you know what? A new construction is golden, right? I mean, it's really the easiest stuff you'll ever do. So, Jim, question?
One last question for him on mine.
Yeah.
I just saw it now. Do you have to be present at the time of registration at the model, or can they send the buyer and still be protected?
Great question, and no, you can send the buyer and still be protected. If you call our online consultant, if you call the sales rep at the community, and just say, hey, I'm with another buyer today, I've got folks that came from Tennessee, I can't be with them. I mentioned your community, they're probably gonna stop at, here's their name, you are covered for 60 days.
Perfect. And that's good to know. That's the kind of relationships you want as well.
With everybody every time.
When are y'all gonna do something in Pinellas?
Yeah, as soon as they create more land.
We just closed down the Colonnade, it was one of our best communities, best-selling communities, and it's just finding the land in Pinellas, so.
But
Yeah.
nothing anytime soon.
Now, we just sold out of a community there, so yeah, we don't have anything
Say
right
it
now.
probably as fast as you can. Exactly. So, all right. So this is my favorite part. Andrea, come on up. So this is the time where we get to we get to hear from, all right, one of our own who is just doing a great job, right? You know, a couple years ago, we started bringing in our top producing agents to share, because I wanted you guys to hear from them, because it's funny. I started going back through and listening to all the different people we've had. We've got a myriad of different means and methods and ways that they have invented themselves to do it. So this is Andrea Lopez. You guys know Andrea? Give Andrea a hand on the front side. Okay. Want to sit? Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. Andrea brought her better 10%. Her husband with him as well, Alejandro. And so this is big. I'm going to let you hold this because I got a pretty loud voice.
Okay.
And just so we can hear this. So,
Okay.
you tell me. You guys something you want to share with us first before I start asking questions?
As you like.
All right.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, well, how about this? I always like to start. How long in real estate?
I got licensed 6 years ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
So just 6 years, and that was your first foray.
Right.
Okay. Didn't do anything prior that was real estate related?
Yes. When I started working for a real estate office. First of all, my name is Andrea. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. I'm from Colombia, and I've been living here in this country for the past 19 years. I'm very happy, to be here this morning talking with all of you. It's just amazing because I never imagined being here and you sending me an email saying, hey, listen, I want you to talk to my agents because you're one of the top agents. So I wanted to ask you, what is it that you call a top agent?
Well, good question, right? How do you qualify to get to the seat, right? How do you get to the curvy couch? The answer is, I go from a list of our cappers, right? People that are capping. Cappers with us in our model means you got to do at least probably about 14 or 15 transactions in the previous year and or through this year. Andrea's already capped for this year because we all start January 1, right? And so for us, our cappers, that's the list I start with. So
Okay.
it's not based on volume per se, but it's based on capping with us,
Okay.
which usually means numbers of transactions.
Okay, and I do wanted to tell you that I'm very happy to be part of this company. I admire you. You are a great leader, and I think you lead by example, and that's something that I really admire from you.
Well, and people that are going to compliment me, that's a good way to get on here as well. All right.
I thank Jimena, my friend, because she was the one who told me about Future Home. I was working for the past 5 years in a small brokerage, which I really like. My broker, I'm very thankful to her. I learned a lot with her, but Jimena told me about Future Home. And so I came on board, and I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, so I love real estate because it's a great career. You never have any limit income-wise. And I like to provide for my family. And so I get to provide for my family and enjoy my family. I love my freedom. That's the reason why probably I'm successful at doing what I do, because I love doing real estate. I love helping people out, but what I love the most is the freedom. I love my freedom. So I was just telling you guys that I did work for a real estate office long time ago for 2 years. Then I worked for a title company for another 7 years, and then I worked for a broker at her office, and so I've been learning a lot from the real estate side. Title is hard. I learned that title is hard. And so when I got my second, well, I'm a mother, I'm a busy mother of 2 boys, Samuel and Daniel, they're 7, 11. And so after my second baby, I decided I'm not gonna stop, I'm not gonna work anymore for a paycheck. I wanna do my own business. And so since I was doing real estate, I decided I was going to get my license and just keep on moving. So I did get my license. After I worked for the title company, I joined this company, and I made a list of the most important aspects that that are helping me to succeed in this career. First of all, I thank God because He's the giver of talents, of opportunities, of divine connections. So I thank God for that. And then I learned throughout all this process to have my priorities in order. First of all, everyone have their own relationship with God. I do have my personal relationship with God. Then I take care of myself. If I'm good with myself, then I can be good with my family and with my business. Then I've been working hard ever since I started doing real estate, and I've been in a continuing process of learning. I never stop reading. I never stop learning. I never stop inquiring about my business. I like to come to these meetings. I like to go to GTAR, to classes. And so I keep, it's a constant education for me. Also, even before doing real estate, I'm a very friendly person. It's easy for me to talk to people, to make friends. So I always like to keep healthy relationships, even though before I was a realtor. And I always like it to leave doors open just, because you never know. So when I got my license was easy because I already knew people and people already knew the way I am. So it was easy for me. Also, I plan my month, my week, and my days ahead. I have an agenda and I see, what is going on this month, what is gonna happen this week. If I see that I don't have something going on, then I plan on going or attending to educational programs. If I'm busy, then I plan on doing everything at the right time, in the right week, in the right day, so I can be proactive with my time. Also, I have a great team that I work for, and without them, my job wouldn't be easier. I have my inspector, I have my mortgage people, I have, of course, my title because I used to work for them, so I'm loyal to them. And all of them, we work towards the same goal. So it's easier for us to work as a team. They know how I work, I know how they work. My transactions are seamless, my transactions are fun, my transactions are people, they always say, wow, I never imagined this process was so simple, because I try as much as I can with my team to make it like that. I meet my clients face to face. Every time I get a referral, because that's all I do, referrals. I do not advertise. I don't have a time to advertise. I think right now, at this stage of my life, I cannot handle volume, to be honest with you, because I'm a busy mom. My kids are in sports full time. I take care of the school. I take care of the house, of the dog, and the cockatiel, and the husband. So I don't advertise, but every time I get a referral, I always tell them, let's meet. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. And hey, listen, at the end of the day, they decide if they want to work with me, and me too. Because sometimes I feel like, I may not be the right person to work with them. It's just like my priorities or their priorities are not the same. So yeah, I always meet my clients face to face with a simple language. I always explain things in writing for them, whether I'm working with a seller or I'm working with a buyer. I always make sure to talk a simple language. Of course, it depends on the client. I mean, you all know how to treat your clients, but yeah. And I usually leave everything in writing. I explain to them the entire process, whether they're selling or buying, and I read, the paper, and I give it to them So they know what's going on after we see the house, after we do the offer, after we get the offer approved, what is next. So they never wondering. I try to give them a feedback or a communication almost every Monday. Hey, this is what is going to happen this week. And so I never have people calling me wondering what is going on. We're in the middle of the process. We don't know what's going on. And the same with the lender, the same with the title company, the same with everything. I try to do it every Monday, give everybody an update on the process. I decided ever since I got my license to embrace every season. When I first started, I probably closed 1 to 3 deals a year, but I was very, very happy working with rentals. I learned a lot about rentals, doing paperwork, opening the doors. I didn't know how to open a door. Again, when I got my license, I joined a very small brokerage, so I don't have any training like a Keller Williams training or a RE/MAX training. I wasn't trained that way. So I learned through rentals, and you know what? It was just beautiful because I learned a lot and I was yet, having an income. So I appreciate rentals. When I first started that season in my life when I was closing 1 to 3 deals a year. And for example, if you're in a season like me, thank you for calling me a top producer. I would love to produce more. I would love to sell more. I would love to have more listings, to be honest with you. But at this time in my life, my priorities are my kids. So I'm enjoying them. I'm having fun. And at the same time, I'm providing. But I'm enjoying this season. And still, I'm getting educated. I go to classes. I still getting busy. But I'm enjoying this season. Now, if you are in the season of making a lot of money, having a lot of listings, having a lot of buyers, good for you. Enjoy the harvest and guard your heart from pride. Always make sure that you help people to get, where you are. Always encourage someone to get where you are, because at the end of the day, everybody, this is the beauty of this industry, that there is enough for everybody. There is enough for everybody. We don't need to be greedy between each other. Like I say, my business is based on referrals. I don't advertise. And before I joined Future Home, I lost a couple of listings. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it was something that, it was guarding my heart. My neighbor was renting the house next door. And she always told me, whenever I'm ready to buy, I will let you know because I want you to help me out. However, the owner of the house, he was living out of state and he never knew me. So she told him, hey, listen, my neighbor is a realtor. She's going to help me out to buy the house. You can list with her. And he says, well, you don't know, I don't know her. And I don't know the company that she works for. But then my neighbor, she knew me and she bought a house from me. So it's okay. People may sometimes say, hey, listen, I don't know the name of your company. I don't know who you are. Well, that was a small brokerage that I used to work for. But at the end of the day, when people refer you, it's easier because they already know who you are, how you work for their friends or their family members. So it's easier with referrals. And I have another story that I want to share with you guys is that 10 years ago when Alejandro and I, we bought our first home, we hired a guy to remodel our bathroom. And very nice man, he works impeccable. And through the years, I've been referring him business because I do the same thing, right? I refer the lady who does my nails, I refer the lady who does my hair, and they do the same thing with me. I never ask for that, but they do it. So with this guy, one day, as the time passes, I was referring him clients, and one day I call him and I ask him, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Well, I'm going through a hard time with my marriage." And I say, "Well, you're welcome to come to my house and have a coffee with Alejandro, and we can talk to you, we can pray with you, and see how we can help you." And sure he did. He went home, and we had coffee, and we spoke to him. It was probably 45 minutes. Well, he is one of the divine connections that God have brought into my life, because through him, I met one of my best clients that he already had bought from me 12 houses, 12 properties. So we never did that, the talking about his marriage, wanting something in return.
Correct.
We just did it because we are like that. But sooner or later, God will always reward you. So, and to finish, I'm a firm believer of the principle of the harvest. A man reaps what he sows in Galatians 6:7. And the golden rule that is being taught even in kindergarten when my kid was going to BPK. Whatever you wish that others will do to you, do also to them. That is in Matthew 7:12. So, life is simple and it's clear. My husband and I decided 16 years ago to live our life based on biblical principles, and we never regret it. Our marriage is being a blessing, our finances are being a blessing, our kids are being raised in a good way. Even though, they go to public school, they know the difference between, good and bad. So life is simple. Enjoy your season, whether you're making a lot of money, whether you're starting, enjoy it, learn from the season, and always keep in mind that having a good heart, having a good attitude, you will always reap what you sow.
That is a mic drop moment. I mean, there is nothing there. I mean, you guys need to go back and watch the replay of this, because you couldn't write fast enough to keep track of the nuggets that were flowing there. I just guarantee it, right? In essence, what Andrea's saying is do the next right thing. And we started teaching this in 100K, right? Is you go give value in a garden hose, and it comes roaring back to you through a fire hose. You cannot catch it all, right? When you just go do the next right thing, when you treat people right. Now, again, you guys kind of know who we are. I mean, and we never look to offend anybody. Andrea and I, we have the same spiritual belief, but we're a firm believer as a company that part of what we do is that when we grow spiritually, and whatever that might mean to you, we understand spiritual growth means different things to different people, but when you grow spiritually and intellectually and emotionally and all these different things, then the financial is just a consequence, a good one, of those actions. We're sowing the other things and we're reaping when those come back. So that, and 6 years is not that long to be in business, to have 100% of your business through referral, right? That's strong. That's a good, to me, that speaks highly of how your people, how you treat people and how they respond to that. So,
Go ahead.
question.
Do you do Christmas cards where you probably do follow up?
Yeah, do you send Christmas cards to your
I
clients,
do.
past
Yes,
clients? Uh-huh.
Yes.
How often
I like
do
to
you
write a lot.
Yeah, do you keep track of? How often do you keep in touch with your clients? Do you have a system for that, or is it all?
No, I fell on that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what? And it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying, because again, everybody else says, hey, look, if I just get this CRM, right, then that's my answer, and I don't know. No, the key isn't having a CRM. The key is reaching out and talking to people.
I do have to tell you that, yes, I do send Christmas cards, and I do text messages over just to say hello, and, how is your daughter, that I saw that she had, an accident, or how is your dog, I love it, you got a new dog, congratulations. And when I have a closing, I don't disappear. I never disappear from people's life. When I finish my closing, it just, I built a relationship with my clients, and then usually they like to celebrate. So they invite me, and I bring all my crew. And so I meet their friends, their in-laws, everyone. So it's just, it's friendship.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
More questions for her. Anybody?
And I do wanted to tell you that I have a list, like a shopping list. Like when you go to the supermarket, you write down, I don't know if you're still using pen and paper, but I do. So I do have a list that I try to read and follow up on my weekly basis, just to make sure that I'm not missing out on anything. Can I read it really
Yeah,
quickly?
please do.
Okay, so constantly, yeah, I just make sure that I'm not missing something. Make kindness a lifestyle and not for a commission. Don't be nice just because you're pursuing something in return. I mean, you make kindness a lifestyle everywhere you go, especially with your fellow realtors. We have to treat each other with kindness, with respect, because at the end of the day, we are a whole big family. Be wise, be thankful, be different, be real, be unique, be sincere, cordial, friendly, strong, excellent, humble, organized, fair, be a leader, be a change, be a light, helpful, be respectful, be a person of honor, be responsible, be a giver, don't lie, gray or little lie, just don't lie. Read books, volunteer somewhere. I do volunteer.
Where?
At church. I do volunteer at church. Volunteer somewhere. Have a vision. Keep your word at all the time. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Zero excuses. Who cares if you were at a closing, if you're closing $1 million deal? Keep your word. People like you when you keep your word. Don't complain. Go always the extra mile. Give ideas, give options, give good news. Don't go with problems. There is a problem here. We're facing this. Give options, solutions. Own your mistakes. When you make a mistake, own them and then apologize. Be ethical with your clients and your fellow realtors. Smile, be pleasant. Encourage someone every day. Your life will change if you decide to encourage someone every day. Speak life. Words have power. In your home, with your kids, with your spouse, with your business, words have power. Be careful to everything that comes out from your mouth. Leave a legacy of goodness, of value and respect. Value and respect your time and other people's time. Leave a good taste in people's life. Whenever you close, whenever you meet someone, a realtor, a client, whether the transaction goes through or not, just leave always a good taste in people's life. Be the person God created you to be. You were born to conquer, to win, to shine in all you do. And the most important thing, also reward yourself, because you're hardworking people. So reward yourself every once in a while. I do reward myself.
You should.
That's the fun part.
That's a list, by the way. Put a hashtag in front of that. All right? Okay. It's a long one, but that one will play right there.
So I do like to read.
Yeah.
7 Levels of Communication. I read it even before I met you.
Awesome.
This, I picked it up at Publix when I was
Nice.
getting some
That guy's
cuts of the
awesome.
deli.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can, we all can.
Yeah, you take Nick, what's his name?
Nick
Vucevic. You ever get a chance, no arms, no legs, and no
It's
excuses.
amazing. No excuses.
He is awesome. He's just, remove every excuse you ever have.
Become
Yeah.
unstoppable. That's
Yeah,
his thing.
that's awesome.
And I like this. This book had helped me a lot.
Yeah.
My husband, he used to work for 12 years for DirecTV. And so I've been, I read this book, he read it too, and I say, hey, listen, it's time for change. So he quit DirecTV, and he has his own business right now. So this book had inspired us a lot. And so I'm going to do a drawing.
Oh, good. Yeah, drawing. Hey,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. That's good.
Let's do it now?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna pick somebody. They're gonna give cards. How are we gonna do a drawing? They're gonna just give their card.
I have the number here.
Oh, I see. You're gonna think of a number.
I have it here.
Okay. And so how are we gonna count them? You tell me. You got this all figured out.
Let's start. Just
Everybody's gonna number it out.
Yeah.
So, okay.
7.
Between what and what?
Yeah. What's it?
Between-
100.
He's
1 and 100, what's the number? Oh, wait, don't tell.
No. Between 1 and 30.
1 and 30.
How many realtors have?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So how about this? How about if we, I'm just going to assign them numbers.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the boss.
Yeah, just count off as you go. And then it's written in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't just pick you because I like you. All right? 'Cause
Right.
It's already written down.
Yeah, no,
All right?
Actually, he picked.
Okay, all right. Alejandro picked. And by the way, before Alejandro did DirecTV, he was also a catcher, right? Catcher with the New York Yankees. Look at that. See, look at we got royalty in the house. Even though I'm a big Rays fan, so we won't have the Yankees, but that's all right. Okay, so we're just gonna go 1.
13.
Oh, you're skipping on me. All right, 13. Yeah, let's go in order. That'd be easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Give me eye contact. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Any other agents? 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, we got 30?
30, perfect.
30's the number?
No.
Oh, okay, we got 30. Okay. 19, who's 19? All right, very good. Good job. Was that your number, Alejandro?
Yes.
Was it your number? I knew it. See, I know baseball players. I know.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate
Whoa. We're not done yet, so we got to, yes.
I do already have the book, though, so I'd like to pass it along. Super.
Okay.
I like it.
Who doesn't have the book that wants the book? First one up. Got it right here in stripes. Got it. Good job. That's a great book, by the way. Awesome. Any last questions for Andrea? Anybody? You know what? It's not easy coming up here. You know, it's not, and it's funny because you are not. How many at least when I called you, right? Like me? What am I gonna? You know what I mean? Because all of our top producers don't even realize they're top producers. They really don't. Okay? So that's the beauty of it, and that's part of what I think is their humbleness, and it's also why they're top producers, right? Because we've all, you know, as much as we would love to see you guys' face on a billboard, I've yet to see one, right? Okay? So it's not the billboard agents are the ones that are, you know, getting it done. All right? It's the people that just genuinely, by the way, if you listen to Elisa's last month and then Andrea's this month, all right, it's all about just go be genuine, be real, live in abundance, right? And just expect great things. Leave people feeling better than when you first came in contact with them. Okay, these are all kind of biblical principles, and next thing you know, good things come rushing back at you. Cool? All right? Thank you. Awesome. Give her a hand. Awesome. Great job. Thank you again for your willingness to come. You did a super job. All right, last thing, 100K if you get Tuesday night. It's so a week from today, Tuesday night. It's on September 11th at 7 p.m. in Oldsmar. Following morning, 9:30 a.m. in Clearwater at the Hampton Inn, both Hampton Inns. And if you're listening online, we have an Orlando meeting tomorrow, but we have an Orlando meeting in 100K next Thursday. Anything else I can answer for you? Anybody? Major questions? Okay. Remember, the best way to get in touch with me is to email me, because that's the easiest thing for me to forward to Jim. All right? Yeah, one button and Jim has it. It's like, I'm done. Look at my job's easy. I can delete that one. I'm just teaching. Reach this out. So, cool. All right. Thanks for coming. I know we ran a little long. If you have any questions, stick around. Some of our newer agents, if I haven't got a chance to meet you, I'd love to get a chance to meet you before you head out. And have a great week. All right. Talk to you later.